So it's obvious that the cinematic tools that we use every day are evolving pretty fast. So when a blockbuster director shoots his entire film on iPhones, and when Apple is quietly skipping iOS 19 for a completely different system, I think we need to talk about it. So first, I want to talk about what happens when an Oscar-winning director ditches his pro cinema cameras and decides to use a consumer iPhone to shoot a feature film. Right, consumer. So Danny Boyle, who is the mind behind 28 Days Later and Slumdog Millionaire, has his newest movie, 28 Years Later. And this one's gonna be special for filmmakers, not just because of the zombies and the cast and all the good stuff there, but it's got a $75 million budget and was shot almost exclusively on iPhone 15 Pro Maxes. Now, by the time it hits theaters this summer, it's going to be expected to be the highest profile film ever made with a smartphone. And in some scenes, they actually used 20 of them. Consumer. So why would you do this? Why would Danny Boyle do this? Well, partly it's tradition, right? In 2002, when he made the original 28 Days Later, he shot it on a Canon XL1, which at that time, compared to what was available for higher end production, would be considered lo-fi, shooting at 480p on mini DV tape. The aesthetic, though, became pretty iconic, and it showed a devastated London quickly taped on consumer-grade cameras. I like that I get to use the word taped. So 23 years later, Boyle is using iPhones. So he's staying true to the franchise's ground rules, but leveling up the tech. But I say consumer in quotes here because they didn't just slap iPhones on a tripod. They had custom aluminum rigs, cages, pro lenses with attachments to turn the iPhone into a flexible cinematic tool that is effectively capable of shooting full 2.76:1 widescreen, just like IMAX or Ultra Panavision 70mm standards, as well as using it to create bullet time sequences when they sync together 20 iPhones. Shots that would have taken quite a bit longer with older school gear. Apple themselves actually provided technical support directly to the production. If you are a consumer or even a creator who uses the consumer iPhone to film your content, do you have 20 iPhones? Do you have custom rigs? Do you have cinema lenses attached? Most would say no. So that's why I sort of scoff at the idea of this being a consumer product-driven production. It's also not the first movie shot on iPhone. Indies like Tangerine in 2015 or Steven Soderbergh's Unsane in 2018 were passion projects with tight budgets that used iPhones. But by contrast, 20 years later is the first studio-backed franchise movie to go all in on iPhone. Even Cillian Murphy, who is the original film star, is returning for the sequel. But this isn't just about gimmickry. The way we shoot stuff is changing. Barriers are coming down. Like, these tools just weren't available to everyone back when 28 Days Later was made. Hollywood is now borrowing from YouTubers and indie creators. Though I would say, unlike some of us, I don't have an Apple support team. But let me know what you think. Are you going to the big screen to look at this? Are you going to critique it? How do you feel about this? Let me know it down in the comments, and let me know whether or not you think they should continue doing things like this with these consumer pieces of technology. Real quick, I want to jump into this video where we're talking about the tools that we use to create, and to let you know that this video is sponsored by me. And really, all of my videos are sponsored by me. Unless I say otherwise, every video on this channel is backed by my photography business. YouTube ad revenue is very nice, but it doesn't keep the lights on. And I am a working professional photographer. This is how I make a living. I specialize in portraits, family sessions, and photo and video work for small businesses. So if you're in Las Vegas, LA, Riverside, Orange County, or San Diego, and you need professional content that actually makes you look good, I am available. You'll find booking info and links down in the description. Next, let's talk about a number jump, a redesign, and some new features coming to Apple software. So Apple isn't just updating iOS this year, they're gonna change kind of how we think about versioning and releases for a lot of their products. So let's talk about why Apple is potentially skipping from iOS 18 all the way to 26 and why that matters. So first off, let's just get to the simple end of it, which is that iOS is gonna ditch version numbers. So right now they're on version 18, they're gonna go to 19, but instead of 19, we're gonna get 26. So basically, they're just going to name it like we name cars. But one thing that looks very nice about this is that they're going to align the releases. So instead of having macOS 12 and watchOS 10 and iOS 18, right, we're actually going to get 26. So tvOS 26, watchOS 26, iOS 26. So can it be confusing? Sure, at first. But it solves the fact that the product names and the software versions have started to drift apart. If you ask me right now what version this watch is running on, I couldn't tell you. But there's also speculation as to whether or not the iPhones themselves will eventually drop the numbered models to match. So instead of iPhone 17 Pro Max, it might be iPhone 26. But honestly, Apple's naming conventions have sometimes been subject to significant and abrupt changes as the market has demanded. How many Plus Pro Maxes are we going to get? But beyond the numbers, the update is also rumored to overhaul the entire interface of most of Apple's products. This project is codenamed Solarium, and it's coming from the Vision OS inspired look, a more fluid, rounded, and animated look that we're expecting to see in every version of Apple's OSs. So rounded app icons, more organic shapes, and evolving away from the similar kind of squared off-grid style that we currently have. A dynamic camera app UI, potentially with floating windows, light reflective icons, and swipe revealed settings, as well as enhanced tabs and floating search elements in apps like Messages. These updates to our most commonly used apps would be unified across platforms, so features, settings, visuals would behave consistently on iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Vision Pro. But the conversation about consistency along Apple's software ecosystem has been inconsistent, and we still don't know what we're going to be getting here in the next few weeks from WWDC. But Mark Gurman has pushed back and cited confirmation that Apple's internal dev team has been using both iOS 19 and iOS 26 and using placeholders while the marketing team catches up. But in addition to the number scheme change and the visual update, we're also expecting some substantial updates. Upgrades to Apple Intelligence are expecting to come for battery management, analyzing our habits and tweaking power usage, as well as promising smarter battery life without user micromanagement. Everyone is still hoping for Siri to get a LLM-based upgrade and make it more conversational to understand broader context. We're also expecting AirPods Live translation and updates to Apple Pencil. But not every device will potentially benefit, as the compatibility list is excluding 2018 models like the iPhone XS and XR that may not be supported. On the iPad side of things, it looks like the cutoff is going to be the 5th generation Mini and the 8th generation Standard, as well as the Air 3 and the 11-inch Pro. And on the smart home side, the old home architecture is being discontinued with 26, where we're hoping to see some additional demos at WWDC on June 9th. So I am curious what you have to think. Let's try that again. So I am curious about what you have to say about these rollouts for changes to Apple, but here's my quick 10-cent take, which is that I think concentrating on version numbers and even a visual update is inappropriate, considering the fact that we have significant issues with features that either do not work, are incomplete, or just do not match up to what I think is basic expectation on macOS, iPadOS, and iPhone. Don't get me started on HomeKit. Don't get me started on HomeKit or tvOS. Next, I want to talk about the update that is being rumored about solid-state buttons for future iPhones. Since Apple updated the iPhone to have a haptic feedback home button, which then also disappeared, we have been making the slow march towards no physical buttons. And I will say that the trackpad on my MacBook is amazing. And it is designed this way. It is haptic 100%. I can't tell the difference. It feels like it clicks. So I will give them credit in that instance. Using the Taptic engine to create vibrations to mimic the feel of a button press has, in many instances, worked well. But on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, for example, where we do have a solid state camera button, I have to be honest, I hate this thing. I love the phone. I love the camera. I like having the button specifically for the camera. But the feature of being able to swipe and turn and adjust and tap and long press, all of the additional functionality made possible through the sort of touch features associated with that button have not at all panned out for me. I find it far too sensitive. Swipes get registered without my intention, and I am constantly changing features or settings without meaning to. But according to recent leaks from China, Apple is doubling down, and the initiative, codenamed Project Bongo, aims to spread these haptic button mechanisms across not just iPhones, but iPads and the Apple Watch. Originally, there was an attempt on the iPhone 15's power and volume buttons, but it was shelved after manufacturing reliability issues. Apple seems to have been back at the drawing board, and posts suggest that the challenges weren't cost, but reliability. And with haptics in the AirPods already mimicking pressure-sensitive input, Apple may have finally been able to get this tech ready for rollout. But we're not expecting it necessarily in the 17, so it may not be until next year that we actually see this in a modern device. And so as someone who uses these devices for working, shooting and editing and producing, and I do photos and video on my phone all the time, I really hope that they listen to user feedback and refine the user experience before they go whole hog on a new input paradigm. Moving to all haptic, all virtual controls is a bold move, but I don't think that it serves the user. So let me know down in the comments if you would miss physical buttons, or if you're just ready to ditch everything and go with virtual haptic pads. Just track pads everywhere. We're all just caressing our phones all day long. But that's it for me. If you want to support what I'm doing here, consider becoming a channel member. You will get access to exclusive resources like LUTs, presets, highlighted comments, members only live videos, and early access to new uploads. If you're looking to book a video or photo session, all the details are down in the description. I work again in Las Vegas, LA, Riverside, Orange County, and San Diego. You'll also down there find all my gear links, including my 2025 Content Creator Essentials list. That's for anyone looking to get started. Those are affiliate links, so picking something up does go to help the channel. Also, don't forget I'm rebuilding my Instagram after I lost my original account to hacking. There is a giveaway going on to help me get that going. Just follow me on Instagram, subscribe here, and drop a comment saying that you followed me on Instagram. That'll get you entered to win free gear. And when I hit 1,000 followers over there, you'll start seeing me giving that stuff out. If you want to sweeten the pot just a little bit, go ahead and like and share as much as you can over there. But like any of my videos, the easiest way to support me is to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. It's free and it really, really helps. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.